Yesterday marked the triumphant return of our original power hitter. It was that home run by Linus that gave us our thin margin of victory in an extremely close game. Linus, of course, made his first appearance in Peanuts as a baby way back in 1952, which means he's one of the only characters who actually grew as the strip went on. In addition to sucking his thumb and holding a blanket, Linus wound up wearing glasses briefly in the early 1960s. He established himself as a good player in the strip early on thanks to unusual fielding plays like this. And when Snoopy wasn't asleep on top of the doghouse, the two made a famous double play combination. Linus is also a very practical character, a much more suitable leader of the team than the sometimes overeager Charlie Brown. Well, and as a lot of you know by now, we haven't had a whole lot of reason to talk about Linus. He's been doing okay for us, but he was kind of in a little bit of a slump up until he hit that dramatic home run to win yesterday's game. So we'll go ahead and jump straight into it and see what's going on here today. First things first, I forgot yesterday to play those computer-controlled games, as a number of people reminded me of. I think I mentioned something about that earlier. So if you go here and look at the standings, you can see that we have 9 games played, and just about everybody else is only 8. So we'll go ahead and play a couple of games beforehand to sort of make sure that everything's kind of up and where it needs to be. Yeah, I think we'll do like this. And that wasn't much of a game to watch anyway. And so that was the Brave Warriors and the American Dreams, and then probably we'll do the let's see, World Powers will end up playing against NB. There we go. There you go. So that's another game completed. Now if we look at the standings, everybody, I believe, has 9 games played. Yeah. So we're up to where we need to be. The next team that we need to play against, so I'm not going to actually play it through this. We're going to play against the Brave Warriors next. We'll take a quick look here at the team first of all. So you can see it here with Linus, who is only at the 40,000 level. He's got a 10 and an 11 there, which is okay, but we really need to get him up a little bit more. And that picture is an awful picture. It doesn't look anything like him. We can see Pigpen there at 10 and 15, Shermie at 11 and 11, Franklin at 10-10, Lucy at 11-6, and Violet at 10-10. We have quite a few good hitters. Even Snoopy's up at 10-10 and Schroeder at 8-7. So Linus will eventually need to get pumped up, but it's going to take us a little while to get to that point. Assuming that we win here today, we'll probably look at Marcy, Rerun, and Spike. We'll probably end up upgrading like 2 of those players is kind of what I'm guessing. And who did I say we were playing against? We're playing against the Brave Warriors, so we're going to go ahead and do this here. And we will have Peppermint Patty on the mound, who we're going to continue to call P. Patty, despite the fact that there's been a lot of angst and consternation in the comment section about our decision to do that. And let's see if Lucy can get this started off right with a base hit. Now, as you know, so she's out at first base. As you know, this is not exactly Baseball Stars for breakfast, because it's probably going to be around lunchtime by the time I get this video out. Part of the reason for that, as you probably can guess, was the fact that I was watching the United States-Canada hockey game, which was an all-time classic. And all I can say for the Canadians is that they took a chance there in overtime and had, I think, a couple of guys too many committed forward, and that's kind of what led to their defeat. But it was a close game, and it was a lot of fun to watch. It's been a really close Olympics to watch. But enough of that stuff, and we'll have to start watching some more baseball here soon, because we got spring training coming up, so there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. And there's the base hit for Pigpen, so all's going quite well. That brings up Shermie next, and Shermie's another one of these players we probably should be talking about a little bit more. He's been a key player for us, though we really need to get him advanced a little bit more hitting-wise, so that balls like that can go out. If he can start hitting home runs, that's going to make a major, major difference for us. Alright, let's see what Peppermint Patty can do here. She doesn't have the drop. But no worries, it's all good. We'll just go ahead and keep on going. So I know I've previewed this a little bit before, but I will preview it once again. Coming up next on this channel in terms of a long-form video, we're going to actually do Quattro Sports Baseball. I was very, very pleased the other day to realize that Camerica, the company that came out with that game, was located in Canada, which means, as you can probably guess, that the company had a number of articles about it in Canadian newspapers back in around 1992 or so. So I did a couple of searches and I was able to find actually there was quite a bit of press coverage around the Aladdin deck enhancer and all the other stuff that came out. So there's going to be a lot for us to talk about here. I was a little bit worried about that after, so as somebody here recommended, I went over and checked out the the Angry Video Game Nerd movie about, or video about, so I'm getting a little bit, we could have had him at first base too. I'm getting a little bit confused here, right? I watched the Angry Video Game Nerd video about the Aladdin deck enhancer, which is the one that covers that game, Baseball Pros, kind of. He talks about it for about 30 seconds. One of the things that he mentioned is kind of a weird Cinemassacre video, which has parts of him watching the Gaming Historian. I haven't watched that Gaming Historian episode yet, but I plan on doing it. If Cinemassacre quoted him correctly, though, I think that, what's his name, the Gaming Historian, was actually mistaken. He says something there about how he's not certain that any of these products were ever actually released, and he couldn't find any evidence of that. I found evidence of that really quickly, because there are advertisements for these things all over the place in Canadian newspapers. So I don't know what kind of sources he was looking at, but I was able to find it. So expect a video that goes into some detail about this coming up soon. The other interesting thing, of course, is that it was basically, you know, made by Codemasters, the UK company. And I haven't played it yet, but I suspect that the soccer game that's part of Quattro Sports is probably a variant on an earlier Codemasters soccer game. So there's going to be a lot of stuff for us to look through and to talk about. Snoopy almost had an inside the park home run there, by the way, and would have if the runner in front of him were a little bit faster. All right, so here we go. Well, that wasn't very good. We might need to get these pitchers some hitting ability. Anyways, like I was saying, look forward to good stuff happening here in videos coming up in the near future on this channel. You can tell I probably didn't get enough sleep last night. I think that's kind of what's going on. I'm starting to confuse my thoughts and the words that I'm speaking. Go back. There you go. It's been kind of a crazy time the last couple of days. If you have been following my blog, you haven't had much to follow the blog that goes along with this project. You haven't had much to follow recently because I haven't been able to post, because I've been quite busy with a whole bunch of other things going on in life. So we're going to try to get that turned around here today. And YouTube is only partially to blame for that. It's actually mostly just the fact that there's a lot of crazy stuff going on at the moment. But it's alright, we'll get it all turned around. In fact, I have a couple of topics to write about coming from 1919. Speaking of which, if all goes well, either today or tomorrow, I should have the next 1919 video up and going. It depends on a lot of things, including, believe it or not, the weather. So our kids go to Chinese language school, and if the weather is as bad as it looks like it's going to be today, I think it's going to end up being canceled. If that's the case, I should have some more time today to get a couple things done. If it's not canceled, then there's going to be a lot of driving in my future. So that's the big question. One of the parts about parenthood that they don't tell you much about is when you end up spending all sorts of time. Oh man, this was a bad throw. Something happened there. I must have pushed the wrong button or something like that. Yeah, they don't tell you when you become a parent about all the driving you end up doing. And unfortunately, we're not exactly going to activities that are maybe like 5 minutes away. It always ends up being like 30 to 40 minutes away. So there you have it. All right, well, we end up with a runner on first. Who was that? That was Pigpen. Okay, so Pigpen with some good luck again. And we'll move up a station. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on here so far in the channel. That loads him up, and here comes Violet. She doesn't have any home runs yet in this particular league. Oh, shoot. That's a triple play, so she lined into a triple play. That's the second triple play that we've run into so far in this series. And I'm not quite sure what I could have done about that one. I thought for sure that was going to go through. Alright, well, we'll just sort of go through this calmly and see what we have going on next. Keep this away. Keep it away. Give up the home run. I know that people have been complaining about that and saying, oh, you're throwing it down the middle of the plate, etc., etc. If you haven't played this game before, or if you haven't played it for a long time, you probably don't realize this, but the truth is that when your pitcher's tired, you can't curve the ball. All right, everything you throw ends up going down the middle of the plate. And we could take Peppermint Patty out in that situation, but the problem is that her spot is due up the next inning and you can't do a double switch. So you can see the consternation that you end up naturally having, which is, well, I can take the pitcher out, but then I waste a pitcher. You only have so many pitchers on your staff, so you're a little bit better off trying to get at least 3 innings from your starter. And so that triple play does loom kind of large. Otherwise, we could have had some more runs. We would have been in a much better position. I don't think he got enough of that one. Just barely in there with the doubles, so it does work out in the end. I'll see if we can get Lucy a base hit. She's been kind of dry lately. Oh, that's not going to do it. So much for that, so we have another close one for you. Somebody was telling me at some point in time that, you know, curving the ball is more important than speed, but it's not entirely true. You do want your pitchers to have speed to at least some extent. In fact, I think that's one of Peppermint Patty's problems. She doesn't have a whole lot of speed. Well, that was an incredible play by Snoopy. That's what happens when you have somebody who has a 15 for fielding, man. That was insanely good. Spike, meanwhile, has improved quite a bit as a pitcher. And that might end up being key for us, especially if this game remains close. He's doing a lot better now. Alright, we could use another home run here if we could get something. Oh, that's definitely not going to do it. But Frida beats it out, so that puts a runner on at first, and that sets the table. And here comes the ravenous Pigpen to put us up 4-2. How about that? Another home run for Pigpen. He has been knocking the cover off the ball recently. That'll bring up Shermie. We always forget about Shermie. We need to do an episode for him as well, because look at this. 5-2 now. Well, and that helps with the nerves a little bit. That helps calm things down a little bit. Now let's see if we can get a little bit more power going on. They're leaving Grover in there. And he's getting absolutely shelled. They actually had a chance at first base. I'm surprised they didn't go to first. Oh, yep, there's the air. So we haven't seen that before. We finally see one. This is game 43, I think it is. And we finally see one of those airs in the field. It's a long way to go without seeing an air. Snoopy destroys that one after swinging a little bit late. There you go, that loads him up. We might have something going here now. Good times here. So we have a whole bunch of other stuff coming up here on this channel eventually. Of course, it all depends upon my ability to get content out early. I keep telling myself I'm going to wake up earlier and I'm going to get stuff done. I was up until almost midnight last night, in part because I was driving around for my daughter. So this is kind of what's going on. There's always something happening, especially in the world of the teenager. It's alright though. I will say it, I complain all the time to sort of quietly to you know, my family members, but you know, it would be very nice if we had you know, if we lived in a place that made it a little bit easier to get around. But this is sort of the life I've been used to living. You know, I grew up in the suburbs over in Salt Lake City, and I was very accustomed to sort of being reliant upon somebody else to drive me around anytime I wanted to go to an activity or whatever. So, you know, it's just sort of what happens. So I'm wondering who Zach is under the World Powers. I know that somebody probably wrote about this in the comments of a previous video, but I don't remember. Alright, let's see if Spike can get him. Close, but not quite. Yep, got him. Alright, it's gonna be Frida once again. She's up to 500. And she's up past 500 now. This lineup is so formidable, and our defense is so good that Franklin is on the bench. Normally, Franklin would be one of your starting players, but we don't have much place for him. Of course, he wasn't on the team in real life anyway. I say real life in the real-life fictional world. You know what I mean. And there's the extra base. So, Pigpen showing what he's capable of, gets that triple. I guess it was a double and then went to third base on the throw. Yeah, but that's pretty poor from me. Alright, so there's one out. Here comes Linus. This is his episode. It'd be nice if he could really get a hold of one again. That would be very fitting. Pulled that one foul. Needs to work on his hitting a little bit. What did I say? He was a 10, 11, something like that. Well, he gets the RBI. That makes it 8-2. And that gets rid of the annoying music. Somebody said that they like that music. I don't know, man. Violet got just underneath that one, unfortunately. Top of the 6th inning, so we haven't exactly made short work of him the way that we did with what is that team called? Was it World Powers, right? No, this is World Powers. The other, no, it was World Powers. That's right, this team is BW, the Brave Warriors, that's right. Next time we play World Powers, we're probably going to end up winning by quite a bit. Oh, shoot. Wrong button. I wanted to do that, though, to keep it interesting, right? So both teams now have had kind of foolish errors in this game. cutoff, man. There he is. What are you doing down there? Yeah, unfortunately they held. Otherwise, we could have had a double play. We would have had him at the plate, no problem. And there we go. So we get out of that half inning. We don't give up any runs. That's exactly what we wanted to see. We have 20 hits. We're actually the only team with the error. They were not charged with an error for that missed play. So I think they got kind of lucky. We'll put Sally out here. This is fitting for the Linus episode. Of course, these days when people talk about Linus, they're usually thinking about Linux. It's not like it used to be. It used to be if you're talking about Linus, there's only one Linus anyone would think about. Yeah, there's that speed from Lucy. She's got that Ricky Henderson speed. We need to improve it too. As time goes on, we will. And there's the RBI. So they came close, but weren't able to put it across, and we end up with a run quickly here in the top of the 7th, making it 9-2. That's what it's all about that execution. Well, there wasn't much execution there. I think Pigpen just executed our chances at scoring another run. And there's 2 just like that. Getting better and better. You remember when this series started, some of those throws from third base were really, really suspect, and we had to mess around a bunch figuring out who was going to play where, and those were very, very challenging times for us. Nine to 2, and we hopefully will get a couple more runs here. Let's see if we can end this one before we get to 9 full innings. We got to face Benji here again. Almost hit Shermy with the first pitch. That's definitely not a home run, but that should fall in there. And it does, and it's going to be a double, I believe. Don't think they're going to catch him. They're not even going to try. Alright, so far so good. Now I haven't done my spiel yet, but as usual, if you enjoy this, consider becoming a paying YouTube member if you haven't yet. Or consider supporting me over on Patreon. Your support makes it possible for me to continue doing this. And I'll be really blunt with you, I want to keep doing this. I love doing this sort of thing. I want to make this a full-time thing, and let's keep doing it in the indefinite future so we can have a whole bunch more baseball to follow, as well as other sports on the old Nintendo. And of course, as you know, we have more going on than just a bunch of video game baseball. It's just going to take me a little while to make sure that we can get back into doing that. Snoopy didn't get all of that one. Poor base running on my part, but he still gets a double out of that. She should have scored. We've got a whole bunch of baseball games left to play here, including a bunch of Famicom games. That's at least the direction that we're going to go in here in the future. We'll put 5 in there. We've got nobody on the bench. Nobody's capable of hitting the ball. I guess that was all right. Yeah, boy, we've got a lot of games that we want to try. Boy, big mistake there by Benji. Ah, but that's a bad play by Lucy. I was thinking about that just the other day. I was cleaning out some of these magazines and so on that I've downloaded, Japanese ones, and there are a bunch of games that we haven't talked about yet. For example, Best Play Pro Yaku, which is a sort of like a OTP style game for the NES. If you're interested in baseball management. So there's a lot of stuff that we have to get into, and a lot of games that would probably require us to have long series, sort of like this one. There's a lot of stuff coming up on this channel eventually. So anything you can do to support would be much appreciated, so we can make sure that we make that a reality. Just remember, nobody else on YouTube is going to do all this stuff. I mean, other people can try. There have been other people in the comments who've been talking about, I want to start this save and start this up and stuff. And we have to realize about YouTube is that one of the hardest things about it is figuring out a way to do whatever you're doing and make it so it's actually engaging with your audience. That's the thing that keeps people around. Sometimes you do a good job with it, sometimes you don't do a good job with it, right? It doesn't matter who you are. Everybody struggles with audience engagement. That is gone. And so because of that, you can't necessarily expect that you can do the exact same thing that someone else is doing and that it's going to work. It's kind of a hard thing to, really wrap your mind around. What you see a lot of on YouTube is you see a lot of people sort of copying others. It's sort of like how you see a lot of like AI slop and stuff like that. The reason why you see a lot of this stuff is because people are like, they don't, I don't know how to engage with an audience. I don't know what to create. Ooh, man. Pigpen. Wow, there's number 12. Anyway, it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world. Nobody's born knowing how to, be engaging. In fact, if you watch a lot of television or listen to the radio, you'll realize that most people, even in like mainstream media, don't understand engagement, don't understand how to do things that people are actually interested in. There's a lot of stuff out there that's not interesting at all. For example, I listen all the time here to WTOP, which is the news station out of Washington, D.C. Yeah, and I guess they're fine with the news, but so often it feels like this convoluted mess of a whole bunch of things, and they're saying the same thing over and over again, and I wonder from time to time, do you really know your audience all that well? I mean, how many people are there who are tuning into this who are literally only listening to a 5-second chunk or something like that, or whatever, maybe a 2-minute chunk or something, And I suspect that you would have people listening for a little bit longer if you put on something that was a little bit more engaging and interesting. If you go back to the early days of radio, it used to be all about engagement and all about trying to get the audience, to be part of it and everything else. And that sort of faded away with television. And these days, when you have these sort of sloppy companies that control everything, engagement has definitely gone down. One thing I'll tell you about the AI slop world is that it's very, very bad at figuring out what actual human beings, want to see and want to hear and want to do and all that stuff. So I see people who write about YouTube script writing all the time who will say, oh, you just use this AI tool and it helps you out and stuff. Now, it doesn't work. You need to do it yourself. Anyway, 2 home runs for Pigpen, 1 for Shermie, 1 for Frida. 48,000 people in attendance, $93,000. Let's go improve some pictures. So, as I was saying before, I mean, we would love it if we were able to, say, go to Linus and give him a little bit more to pump him up. We need to pump up Schroeder. We need to pump up Snoopy, right? We have all these people who need some help. Peppermint Patty obviously needed some help in that game. But it's these 3 pitchers who I'm most concerned about. And it makes me very concerned when I'm seeing bonus point 2, right? So we'll help Spike a little bit with stamina and speed. Bonus point 3 here. Okay, so we'll give him these 3. A little bit more there for a rerun. And Marcy here gets 4 points. So that's a little bit more like it, because then we can improve all 4 of those categories. We'll worry a little bit about her stamina maybe a little bit later. And so that's kind of what we're going to do. You can let me know what you think about, the character of these players and who really should have what and so on, and we can change things around as needs be. You can change, the other abilities of these pitchers and stuff if you want. The problem, of course, is that most of these pitchers are never going to hit. So Spike, for example, will probably never have him hit in this entire save. Charlie Brown, on the other hand, likely will hit a lot more often. So you have, 12 more points that you can improve his hitting by. I don't care so much about his defense, but maybe hitting and batting is something that we need to improve there. Let me know what you think about all that. And then eventually we can do it in the future. But as for today, there you have it. So how does that look? Probably about half hour for this video. I don't think we'll hit that mark exactly, but we'll be about right. Anyway, I'm off to go do a little bit of editing here. I always do a little light editing at the beginning. And then I'm off for lunch. I hope that you enjoy a little bit of Charlie Brown Baseball Stars for lunch. And tomorrow we'll try to do it for breakfast again. Talk to you then.